Ever had one of those moments where life just slaps you right in the face out of nowhere? And in that moment, as the dust settles, you realize cold, calculated revenge is the only thing that can truly satisfy you. Not just any revenge. The kind that leaves scars. Yeah, that was my wedding day. Picture this. I'm standing at the altar, all suited up, feeling like I'm on top of the world. Kind of like a lottery winner who doesn't realize yet that taxes are about to take half of everything. Then, the love of my life, Brittany, floats down the aisle, grinning like an angel with just a hint of mischief. At that moment, I thought, I'm about to be the happiest guy alive. Spoiler alert, not even close. Everything was going smoothly until this moment. Just as the minister clears his throat to start the vows, Brittany leans in, close enough for me to hear her breath. Now, I thought she was about to say something sweet, like, I can't wait to spend forever with you. Instead, she whispers, here's the deal, Jake. You either sign over your paycheck every month, or I'll marry your brother, Adam. Wait, what? My brain froze for a second, like I had just crashed into a wall. Before I could even process it, some guy in a cheap suit, looking like he belongs in one of those late-night lawyer ads, steps forward with a stack of papers bigger than my dignity. I'm the attorney, he says, like we're about to close a major deal. Just need you to sign here and here. This prenup ensures Brittany has control over the finances, assets, and oh yeah, your balls, he adds. I blink. What? A prenup? We never discussed that. And then, just like that, the gaslighting starts. My parents, Brittany's parents, even Adam, everyone synchronized, begins telling me, oh Jake, honey, you knew about this. You agreed to it months ago. Did I? Was there some alternate version of me who thought signing away my future sounded like a good idea? Brittany looks at me, like I'm the one throwing a tantrum. Meanwhile, Adam's just standing there, looking way too pleased with himself. I'm pretty sure he's already imagining his victory lap with Brittany. I take a deep breath. Listen, I say, sarcasm dripping from every word. I must have missed the memo where I signed up for indentured servitude. So no, this isn't happening. The room goes dead silent. Brittany steps back dramatically, clutching her chest like I just kicked a puppy. Then, in a voice loud enough to shatter glass, she says, if Jake won't marry me under these terms, I should have just chosen Adam, and everyone gasps. Guests whisper, parents clutch their pearls. Someone probably fainted in the back. And Adam? He's loving this. He steps forward, trying to sound all noble. Brittany, I never wanted things to end like this, he says, like we're in some cheap soap opera. That's when I realized. This whole thing was a setup. They thought I'd cave under pressure, like some weakling. But not today. Nope. I give them the world's politest middle finger smile, drag out a dramatic pause, and walk right out. No speeches, no grand exit. Just me, leaving my own wedding like a damn legend. Now, picture this. Me, in a full tuxedo, wandering through a park like some rejected groom in a rom-com that nobody would bother watching. Birds are chirping, kids are laughing, and there I am, the walking embodiment of a disaster. I'm sure at least 2 tourists snapped photos, probably thinking I was some kind of performance art titled, Man Abandoned at the Altar. I sit on a bench, my mind racing through a flashback montage like something from a PTSD film. Naturally, it all centers on Adam, the golden child, the perfect son, the one who could sneeze and still get a round of applause from our parents. It's always been like this. Dad, Gregory the Almighty, and Mom, the ever-loving Deborah, made sure we all knew who their favorite was. Adam got the keys to the family business at 25, while I got life advice like, figure it out yourself, Jake. It builds character. Yeah, thanks, Dad. You know what else builds character? Trauma. So there I was, busting my butt to make something of myself while Adam played CEO like it was a game, one he could never lose. And now? He's probably back at the wedding, comforting Brittany, saying, don't worry, Brittany, I've got this, while flashing that smug grin. Man, I want to punch that grin so hard it should be a competitive sport. My phone buzzes. Brittany. Again. Then Mom. I let out a bitter chuckle. Yeah, like I'm going to pick up that call. The voicemail will probably say, "Jake, you embarrassed us. Couldn't you just compromise?" "Oh, sure, Mom. Next time, I'll just give away my soul on a silver platter. Sorry about that." I lean back, rubbing my temples. This whole thing has Adam's fingerprints all over it. He's always had his eye on Brittany. I should have seen the red flags, but no. I was too busy playing the good guy role, trying to prove I was worth something to my dysfunctional family. I replay the wedding in my head, Brittany's ultimatum, Adam's grand entrance, and it hits me. This wasn't some accident. This was a setup. Adam orchestrated the whole thing like a twisted puppet master. And the worst part? He didn't even have to do the dirty work himself. He had everyone else, Brittany, my parents, doing it for him. Hell, even the guests probably bought into the story that I'm the ungrateful screw-up who couldn't handle commitment. The blame game's in full swing, and guess who's the designated loser? Yours truly. I sigh and shake my head. They didn't just ruin a wedding. They turned it into my personal downfall in front of a crowd. I can already picture tomorrow's headlines. Man walks out on fiancé, leaves brother to pick up the pieces. Perfect. Just perfect. But you know what? Forget it. I'm done playing their game. If they want a villain, I'll give them one they won't forget. First things first, though. I need a drink. A strong one. Because honestly, things are only going to get messier from here. A few hours later, I'm still mentally replaying the disaster of the day when my phone buzzes again. Of course, it's Adam, because apparently, my nightmare isn't complete until he chimes in with his smug commentary. I sigh and answer, already regretting it. "Hey, Jake," Adam chirps, sounding like a salesman offering a 2 for betrayal special. "How's it going?" "Oh, just peachy," I reply flatly. "Loving this whole ruined wedding vibe I've got going on today. How about you?" Adam laughs, that annoying sound so sharp it could break glass. Come on. Don't be like that. Weddings are stressful, man. You definitely needed a break, clearly. I clench my jaw. Right. A break. From my own wedding. You were there, Adam. Don't act like you weren't enjoying the show. "Whoa, easy there," he says, all syrupy sweetness, his fake concerned tone making me want to smash something. "I just wanted to check in on you. I mean, Brittany was upset, you know? She didn't want things to go down like that." "Oh, really?" I scoff, because it sure looked like you and Brittany had the whole thing planned. You swoop in, play the hero, and suddenly I'm the bad guy who walks out on her. Convenient, huh? There's a pause, just long enough for the tension to build, before he responds in his most patronizing voice. "Look, Jake, it's not my fault she made her choice. Sometimes life's just like business, competition. And hey, you win some, you lose some." I take a deep breath. I know he's baiting me, but damn it, it's working. Wow, I force out a laugh. "So now you're calling this competition? You sabotaged my wedding and now you're giving me a TED Talk on losing gracefully?" "I'm just trying to help," he says, barely holding back a chuckle. "I mean, we'll probably have to reschedule the wedding. Brittany needs some time to process everything. But don't worry, you'll still be invited. Maybe you can even be my best man. Wouldn't that be fun?" For a split second, my vision goes red. I grip the phone so tight I'm afraid it might snap, reminding myself that strangling someone through a phone isn't physically possible, yet. "Yeah, Adam." I grit out through my teeth. "Sounds like a blast." "Good to hear," he says cheerfully. "Anyway, take care, bro. We'll catch up soon." I stare at the phone, my hand trembling with barely contained rage. Adam's not just gloating. He's relishing every second of this. He set the whole thing up, and now he's basking in his triumph like the egotistical man-child he's always been. But what he doesn't realize is that he doesn't know me as well as he thinks. I've got one thing he doesn't, the ability to think ahead. Adam's arrogance is going to be his downfall. Somewhere in his perfect little world, there's a crack, and I'm going to find it. This isn't over. You ever notice how life turns into some weird detective movie when you're plotting revenge on your own brother? Yeah, that was me. For the next few days, I became Jake Holmes, on the hunt to unravel the mystery of Adam's secret life. And trust me, the clues were juicier than anything you'd see on a soap opera. I started running into people from Adam's circle, old classmates, business contacts, even a few gym buddies who clearly spent more time on Instagram than actually lifting weights. I kept it cool, casually dropping questions like, "So, Adam's been keeping busy, huh?" Or, "He's got a lot going on these days, doesn't he?" The answers were pretty much what I expected. "Oh yeah, Adam's always juggling women, business deals, and well, more women." No surprise there. My brother couldn't resist a pretty face, even if his life depended on it. I figured if anyone had dirt on him, it would be one of the many women he probably screwed over along the way. Problem was, tracking down the right one was like searching for a needle in a haystack, and I was running out of time. Exactly 3 days into my amateur detective work, I got the invitation. Yep, you guessed it, Adam and Brittany's wedding. The damn thing was set for exactly 1 week after my wedding disaster. These people weren't just rubbing salt in the wound. They were pouring an entire salt mine on it. I needed leverage, and I needed it fast. That's when I decided to call in a pro. Enter Vinny, private investigator and part-time cynic. The guy looked like he'd seen enough betrayal and backstabbing to make a therapist cry. "So you want dirt on your brother?" he asked, lighting a cigarette like we were in a noir film. "Any specifics?" "Women," I replied. "He's got a habit of screwing things up. Literally. I need someone who's got a grudge." Vinny smirked. "Ah, the classic woman scorned. Don't worry, guys like your brother? They always leave a trail." And damn, was he right? 2 days before the wedding, Vinny called with the jackpot. "I found her," he said. "Name's Jessica. Former flame, currently pregnant with your brother's kid. Looks like things didn't end on good terms." Pregnant? Of course. Adam's arrogance had finally come back to bite him. We set up a meeting at a small cafe, one of those places where no one asks questions if you're having a shady conversation in the corner. I showed up early, trying to act calm. I'd heard of Jessica before, but I'd never met her. Rumor had it she and Adam had a messy breakup, but no one ever gave me the full story. Now, I was about to get the unfiltered version. Vinny arrived first, giving me a nod as he took a seat. "She'll be here soon," he said. "Just be patient." Patient? Yeah, right. At this point, I felt like a ticking time bomb. And then, she walked in. Jessica. Tall, confident, with a glare that could melt steel. This was not a woman you wanted to mess with. And judging by the look on her face, she had plenty to say about my dear brother. "Jake?" she asked, raising an eyebrow as she sat down. "I hear you've got questions about Adam." Oh, I had questions. And something told me she had the answers I needed to bring my brother's perfect little world crashing down. Jessica sat across from me, stirring her coffee like she was preparing to drop a nuclear bomb of drama. Honestly, I was here for it. "So, you want the truth about Adam?" she began, her voice calm but thick with bitterness. "Well, here it is. I'm pregnant, 7 months along. And guess who the father is?" I leaned forward. "Adam. Obviously." She rolled her eyes. "Yeah, and surprise, surprise. He promised he'd be there for me. He said he'd take responsibility, support me, all that," Jessica continued. "But now, he's ghosted. Doesn't answer calls. Doesn't respond to messages. 1 minute, he's playing the doting boyfriend, and the next, he's Houdini." Figures. Adam always had a knack for disappearing, especially when things got tough for him. I shook my head. "Let me guess," I said. "He made it sound like you were the most important thing in his life?" "Exactly," she huffed. I believed him like an idiot. We talked about starting a family. He said he wasn't like those other guys who run when things get tough. She laughed bitterly. "Guess what? He's exactly like those guys." Classic Adam, I muttered under my breath. Always making promises he never intends to keep. Jessica's eyes narrowed. "Wait, why do you care? What's your angle here?" I leaned back and lightly tapped the table with my fingers. "Let's just say Adam and I have a complicated relationship. He's been screwing me over for years. Figuratively, not literally, thank God. But today, you're my ace in the hole." She raised an eyebrow. "Meaning?" "Meaning," I leaned in again. "Adam's getting married in 2 days. To Brittany. The same Brittany who was supposed to be my wife until he sabotaged our wedding. So, Adam's getting married? He left me pregnant and now he's tying the knot?" Jessica was fuming. "Jessica, I'm ready to help you get justice, I said firmly. Publicly. Her eyes lit up with interest. I'm listening. Here's the plan, I said, lowering my voice, speaking conspiratorially. We're going to crash Adam's wedding. You've got proof, right? Texts? Photos? Hell, a DNA test once the baby's born? Jessica nodded, a smirk creeping across her face. Oh, I've got plenty of receipts. Adam might think he's untouchable, but he's left a paper trail. And if a DNA test is what it takes, I'm ready for that too. Good, I said, feeling a surge of adrenaline. Here's what we'll do. You'll come to the wedding as my guest. We'll time this perfectly. When they least expect it, we'll blow his whole charade to pieces. Publicly. Jessica leaned forward, her smirk widening. You want me to ruin Adam's wedding? I'm in. That bastard deserves it, I said, grinning for the first time in days. Oh, trust me, this is going to be a show for the ages. And when we're done, Adam won't know what hit him. We shook hands like conspirators in a heist movie. Jessica wasn't just here for revenge. She wanted justice for herself and her unborn child. And I was ready to give her the stage she needed. Adam wanted competition? Well, he was about to get a front-row seat to the biggest downfall of his life. Weddings. Beautiful occasions filled with love, laughter, and impending chaos. And today? Today was no exception. I arrived at Adam's wedding like the calm before the storm, dressed to impress and ready to play the part of the composed guest, at least until the fireworks started. The ceremony was being held at some ridiculously expensive country club, the kind of place where people pretend their marriages are investments. Adam had spared no expense. Bouquets everywhere, champagne fountains, and a string quartet playing something that made me want to take a nap. It was all perfectly curated to scream, "Look how much better my life is than yours." And there he was, the groom himself. Adam strutted around in his designer tux like he owned the world, which, in his head, he probably did. The moment he saw me, his eyes locked on me like a hawk. "Here we go." "Jake," he called out, grinning like the Cheshire Cat. "You actually came. I wasn't sure you had the guts." "Oh, you know me," I replied, giving him my best poker face. "I wouldn't miss this for anything." Adam clapped a hand on my shoulder, squeezing it just a little too hard. "Glad to hear it. I mean, you might as well get used to it, right? Brittany's with me now. She's finally found someone who can give her everything she deserves." "Everything?" I echoed, raising an eyebrow. "Like empty promises?" He laughed, clearly not catching the sarcasm. "Nah, man. Like financial security. Stability. I'm making bank these days, Jake. I can give Brittany a life of luxury. Not like when she was with you." He smirked, oozing arrogance. "Let's face it," she upgraded. I nodded slowly, keeping my expression neutral. "Good for you, Adam. You're really living the dream." "Damn right," he said with a wink. "Maybe one day you'll get there too. But for now, just enjoy the show, huh?" "Oh, trust me," I said, my voice low and deliberate. "I'm going to enjoy the show, just not the one you expected." Fast forward to the ceremony. Guests were seated, the altar was set, and Brittany was making her grand entrance in a dress that probably cost more than my car. The minister began his spiel, and I quietly slipped out, signaling Jessica to follow me inside. It was time. We made our move just as Adam was about to say his vows. The room fell silent, the cheesy romantic tension thick in the air. And then, boom. "Adam." Jessica's voice echoed, a bombshell in the room. In an instant, the entire room turned to stare at her, their gazes fixating on her noticeably protruding baby bump. She stormed down the aisle, looking like a storm ready to tear everything apart. "You lying, cheating bastard." Gasps and whispers rippled through the room. One guy in the back dropped his champagne flute. Adam froze, his face draining of color. Brittany's eyes flicked between Jessica and Adam, confusion quickly morphing into suspicion. "I'm pregnant with your child," Jessica said, her voice steady and deadly. "And you've been running from your responsibility like the coward you are." The crowd buzzed with murmurs. My parents exchanged horrified looks. Brittany's parents were utterly shocked, their expressions frozen as the realization hit them. This second wedding, the one they had so carefully planned, was now on the verge of collapsing just like the first. The minister looked like he might bolt any second. Meanwhile, Adam stood there, caught like a deer in headlights, sweat starting to bead on his forehead. "Jessica," he stammered, his voice cracking. "What? What are you doing here?" "Oh, don't play dumb," Jessica shot back. "You promised to be there for me. You said we were going to build a family. And now you're here, pretending to be Mr. Perfect Husband? Give me a break." All eyes were on Adam now. He opened his mouth, but no words came out. Brittany crossed her arms, her expression one of disbelief. "Is this true, Adam?" she asked, her voice as cold as ice. I can explain," Adam stuttered, shooting me a desperate glance. I gave him a polite smile, one that said, "You're screwed, buddy." "Explain?" Jessica scoffed. "Please, you've been avoiding me for months. But guess what? I'm done being ignored." The room fell into an uncomfortable silence. Everyone was waiting for Adam's next move, but he was too busy drowning in his own panic. And me? I was savoring every damn second of it. Adam's face went from smug groom to a man realizing his whole world was collapsing. You could almost hear the gears in his brain grinding to a halt as he struggled to spin this disaster. "Look, everyone," he finally sputtered, his voice cracking like a teenager caught sneaking out past curfew. "There's been a misunderstanding." "Misunderstanding?" Jessica's laughter sliced through the tension like a sharp knife. "Oh, sweetheart, I've got receipts." With that, she pulled out her phone and began scrolling. "Here's you and me at the beach," she said, holding it up for everyone to see. "And this one's from our trip to that fancy vineyard. You know, the one where you promised we'd have a future together." The guests gasped as one, like a chorus of scandalized choir members. Adam's face turned pale. Jessica wasn't done yet. She flashed another screen. "And here's the text where you said, and I quote, 'I'll always take care of you and the baby. Trust me.'" But that wasn't all. She had saved the best, or worst, for last. "Oh, and just in case anyone thinks I'm making this up," she added, her smirk widening, "let's hear it straight from the groom himself." With that, she tapped on her phone and pressed play. Adam's voice filled the room, crystal clear over the wedding hall's stunned silence. "Jessica, I love you. I swear. You're the one. We'll be together forever. Just wait a little longer, okay? Once everything's settled, I'll marry you, and we'll start our life together. Just you, me, and our baby." The words echoed through the venue like a bomb dropping. She raised an eyebrow. "So, Adam, when were you planning to follow through on that promise?" Adam's parents, Gregory and Deborah, sat there in shock, their faces somewhere between heart attack and existential crisis. Meanwhile, Brittany's parents looked absolutely horrified, slowly realizing that their daughter's second wedding was now hanging by a thread. Deborah clutched her pearls so tightly I thought they might snap. "A grandchild," she whispered, her voice trembling. "We're going to be grandparents?" Gregory looked like he might need a stiff drink, or maybe an exorcism. "Adam, what the hell have you done?" Adam babbled incoherently, sweat now pouring down his face. I can explain. It's not what it looks like." "Not what it looks like?" Brittany suddenly shrieked. She stormed toward him, fury in her eyes. "You've been lying to me this whole time? And you got her pregnant? You lying, manipulative bastard." Adam raised his hands defensively. "Brittany, please, it's not like that. I was just—" Smack. Brittany's hand slapped across his face, the sound echoing throughout the room. The guests collectively gasped. From somewhere in the back, someone muttered, "Damn, that was loud." "Oh, you think that's all?" Brittany hissed. She slapped him again and again. "You ruined my life. You embarrassed me in front of everyone." Meanwhile, her parents were shouting something about family honor and public disgrace, but their voices were drowned out by the chaos unfolding around them. Guests whispered, snapped photos, and generally seemed to enjoy the free entertainment. Adam, visibly panicking, tried to back away. "Let's just calm down, okay? We can fix this." In his frantic attempt to escape Brittany's wrath, Adam tripped and fell directly into the massive 4-tier wedding cake. Frosting and fondant exploded everywhere, covering him like some tragic slapstick comedy. Guests gasped before bursting into laughter. Adam flailed, trying to stand but slipping in the cake's remains. He looked absurd, his expensive tux a mess of white frosting and shattered dreams. Brittany stood there, glaring at him with her hands on her hips, while Jessica crossed her arms, smirking in triumph. "Looks like the groom's having a rough day," I muttered to myself, raising a glass of champagne to my lips. I took a slow, satisfied sip as I watched the pandemonium unfold. Honestly, this was better than any movie I'd ever seen. Adam's parents rushed forward, desperately trying to salvage what little dignity remained, but it was far too late. The damage was done. Brittany stormed out, her parents trailing behind her, shouting threats of lawsuits and ruined reputations. Jessica turned on her heel and strutted away, clearly enjoying her victory. As for Adam, he lay there in the wreckage of his perfect wedding, covered in cake, humiliated beyond repair. I couldn't help but grin. "Cheers, Adam," I whispered. "You wanted competition, and you got it." With that, I finished off the rest of my champagne, savoring every sweet, fizzy second. By the way, Adam ran off from the wedding in an unknown direction. Find a solution that works for everyone," Dad mumbled. I raised an eyebrow and took a slow sip of my coffee. "Oh, now you want to move forward? Funny how that comes up after your golden boy face-planted into a wedding cake." "Jake," Mom interjected, clearly uncomfortable. "Let's not make this harder than it has to be." "Oh, you mean harder than having my wedding sabotaged and then watching my brother's entire life implode in front of 100 people? Sure, Mom. I'll play nice," I said, flashing a grin that wasn't in the least bit friendly. Jessica chuckled quietly beside me, clearly enjoying the show. But she wasn't here just for laughs. She had business to settle. She leaned forward, fixing my parents with a calm yet firm gaze. "I'm not here to make trouble," she began. "But Adam made promises to me that he broke. I'm 7 months pregnant with his child. I need support, and I'm not going to let him walk away from this responsibility." Dad looked like he might faint. Mom nervously fiddled with the hem of her blouse. "Of course," Mom said quickly. "We understand. We want to be involved. We want to support you and the baby. We can help financially, cover medical expenses, the birth, whatever you need." "Good," Jessica replied, her tone leaving no room for negotiation. "But I'm not interested in half measures. I want everything in writing, a legally binding agreement. And once the baby's born, we'll confirm Adam's paternity with a DNA test. After that, I expect regular financial support. In return, you get the right to be part of your grandchild's life." Mom and Dad exchanged panicked glances. Clearly, this wasn't the cozy family meeting they had envisioned. "A DNA test?" Mom stammered. "Is that really necessary?" "It's wise to dispel all doubts," Jessica said firmly. "I want this done right. No loopholes. No excuses." Dad sighed heavily, rubbing his temples. "Fine. We'll bring in a lawyer to draft the agreement. But this has to stay private. We can't afford any more bad press." "Private?" I snorted. "Good luck with that. Half the wedding guests probably posted videos online already. Face it, Dad, this scandal's going viral whether you like it or not." Jessica leaned back, satisfied. "As long as I get the support I need, I don't care who's talking." A few hours later, the doorbell rang. Mom hurried to answer it, and in walked a lawyer, briefcase in hand. Over the next hour, we went through every detail of the agreement. Jessica remained calm and composed, negotiating like a pro. By the time the documents were signed, my parents looked thoroughly defeated. 2 weeks passed, and Adam still hadn't shown up after his dramatic wedding escape. No calls, no texts, not even a snarky message blaming me for his downfall. Everyone was scrambling to find him. His friends, his fiancé-turned-ex, and of course, Mom and Dad, who were probably hoping he'd show up and magically fix their PR nightmare. Spoiler alert, he didn't. Turns out, Adam was exactly where I expected him to be. Las Vegas, the world capital of bad decisions. But he wasn't hiding out in some luxury penthouse. Oh no. When they found him, he was passed out on a blackjack table, looking like a drunken raccoon that had just lost all its acorns in a poker game. Word on the street, by street, I mean from Mom, was that he'd been on a week-long bender, drinking like a fish and throwing cash around like it was Monopoly money. Stress relief, he called it. I called it self-destructing with style. When they finally dragged his sorry self home, he was a wreck, hung over, broke, and looking like the human embodiment of regret. Dad nearly had a stroke when he found out how much Adam had lost in Vegas. Let's just say it was enough to make even our wealthy parents break out in a cold sweat. That was the final straw. Gregory and Deborah officially pulled the plug on Adam's golden boy privileges. They kicked him out of the company and sent him off to some fancy rehab facility to recover from his gambling and drinking habits. He's probably there right now, whining about how life is so unfair while sipping detox smoothies. A few days later, I got the call. My parents, voices full of awkward humility, asked to meet with me. I wasn't expecting much, but curiosity got the better of me. So there I was, sitting across from them in their overly lavish living room, waiting for whatever nonsense they had prepared. "Jake," Dad began, clearing his throat, "your mother and we owe you an apology." I blinked. An apology? From them? Well, there's a first time for everything. "We realize now that we were too lenient with Adam," Mom added, wringing her hands nervously. "We didn't handle things the right way, and you've been treated unfairly because of it." "No kidding," I said, crossing my arms. "So what do you want from me now? Let me guess. You want me to take over Adam's position at the company, right?" Dad nodded, looking hopeful. "Yes. We believe you're the right person to lead the business now. You've proven yourself to be responsible and—" "Stop right there," I interrupted, holding up a hand. "Let me save you some time. I'm not interested. I've got my own career, my own life, and I don't need your business or your approval. So thanks, but no thanks." They both looked stunned, as if the idea of me saying no had never crossed their minds. "Well, tough luck," I said. "I'm done chasing your validation." "Jake, please think about it," Mom pleaded. "I have," I said, standing up, "and I'm done playing your games. Take care of Adam. Take care of your company. Take care of yourselves. I'm out." With that, I walked out, feeling lighter than I had in years. They could keep their family drama. I had better things to do, like, living my life without all the BS. Fast forward a few months, and things were looking up. I'd kept my distance from the family circus, focusing on my work and enjoying the peace and quiet. Then, out of nowhere, I met Nancy. She was smart, funny, and had a smile that could melt glaciers. Best of all, she didn't come with a truckload of emotional baggage or ulterior motives. We started seeing each other regularly, and for the first time in forever, I felt like I was building something real. No schemes, no betrayals, just two people enjoying each other's company. One evening, after a particularly great date, Nancy leaned in and whispered, "Jake, I like how grounded you are. You've got this calm confidence, like you've been through the ringer but came out stronger." I smiled and kissed her gently. "Let's just say I've had a lot of practice. But now I'm ready for something real." And that's exactly what I had with Nancy, something real. No drama, no sabotage, just happiness. Maybe, for once, life had finally decided to cut me a break.